Earlier today at my other parish, I have two parishes, one in Brazil, Indiana, which is about 25 minutes from here, and we have been out in and out of our church over the last 3 years doing a restoration of our interior. Pretty much everything in the church had kind of fallen apart, and so we've done it in different phases. But we processed back. We had been having Mass for the last 6 months as we finished the final stage of our restoration. We've been having Mass down about a half mile away at the Presbyterian Church, which was awesome. They were just great people, great hosts to welcome us in, and saved us from having Mass in the yard. And so we processed back through town at the end of Mass into our church, which was so. I'm still kind of on that procession high, and it's been an awesome day to come home. And the name of our campaign that we picked 3 years ago, maybe 4 years ago when we really started, was A Firmer Foundation. And we used this gospel as our gospel passage, that idea that Jesus sets and builds the church on this rock of Peter. Because our foundation had major issues too. So we could have picked any part of the building and called that because everything was broken for the most part. So, but anyways, it's glorious now. You should make a trip over. You're always welcome in Brazil, Indiana, to come visit. But anyways, so today, of course, I couldn't have planned it that way to have the gospel. I'm not that smart to look that far ahead and say, we need to move back in today because that's the day of the gospel. It just happened as God does. But anyway, I have foundations on the brain right now, right? I've been thinking about that. I've been reflecting on that, moving home, etc. And so I wanted to focus on foundations in today, because there are two places where Jesus mentions foundations in the gospel. He talks about building the church on the foundation, on the rock of Peter. And Peter's name, literally Peter means in the Greek rock, right? So he's building this church on the foundation of Peter. Now, the other place where Jesus mentions rock and foundations is when he's talking to us as individuals, and he's giving this sort of exhortation saying, make sure that you build your house on a solid foundation, not on sand. Because if you build it on sand, when the winds come and the storms come, the foundation is bad, your house will collapse. Right? So Jesus is telling individuals, us as individuals in our faith life, build your house on rock. And then Jesus, over here today in today's gospel, says, I'm building my house on the rock of Peter. Right? On the rock of Peter. I'm building my church. And what kind of struck me thinking about those two instances of foundations is Jesus is pretty smart, right? In fact, he is the source of all wisdom and knowledge. And so if anybody was good at picking out a foundation of rock that was solid to build his church on, it would be Jesus Christ. And he chooses to build it on Peter. So the question for us, I think, to ask is, where will we build our foundation? And I'm submitting to us, I'm challenging myself too, what I need to do is be building my house. If I'm looking for a good foundation, I should build it on the church. I should build my house, out my life. You should build your life on the foundation of the church. Right? Is everything that you do supported by the church? And I think sometimes we're all here, you're at Mass, you're convinced of the power of the gospel, you're convinced of the good news of Jesus Christ, so you're here. So it's not like you're, completely out there in the wilderness of faith, completely away from God. But I think if you're like me, sometimes what I do is I have one foot on the foundation of the church. But I kind of sometimes have other things in my life that I'm trying to build on some other foundation. Maybe it's my own foundation, or a foundation of other things that are of the world that are not of God. That's a temptation, But the problem with that is it's kind of like when you're, if you've ever been on a dock and you're trying to reach, the dock foot is really sturdy, but then you're trying to reach for the boat, and the boat starts to move and you almost fall in. that's kind of what happens sometimes. We have one foot on rock, but if we have that other foot that's not rooted there in Christ, if part of our life is not built on the foundation of the church, then things start to fall apart too. So we have to make sure, and I think constantly kind of be going through our lives, maybe daily, kind of examining our lives and saying, Lord, is there anything in my life that is not being built on the foundation of you? That is not being built on the foundation of your church, right? Christ is the church. Christ is part of the church. Christ is the cornerstone of the church, all those things. He picked Peter. He picked the church to build us on, to build the church on. And I think we do well to do the same thing. You'll have a lot of opportunities, and particularly to our freshmen today, I'd like to speak to you just a moment. There's a lot of credible research that says the patterns that you develop in the first 2 weeks of your college life determine a great deal about where you are 4 years later as a human person, as a human being, right? And so I want you in a particular way to know that we're here to support you as the church. We're here to support you. We're here to help you build a foundation on the Church of Christ, in your Catholic faith. We have so many things going on. Our older students are obviously aware of those things as well. We have a meal afterwards, a great time for fellowship. We have Bible studies. We have retreats. We have all kinds of opportunities, mission trips. There's just so many things going on here that I hope that you have an opportunity to bring your entire life onto the foundation of the church and not just parts of your life. You'll be given lots of opportunities and invitations, both from the world, from all kinds of different directions that will try to get you to build part of your life on some other foundation, right? Root yourself in the church. Plant yourself here. Plant yourself in the Church of Christ, and no matter what happens to you in your life, no matter what difficulties come your way, no matter what struggles you have, no matter what anxieties you have about your major or homework or relationships or whatever other struggles come your way, if your life is built on the church and in the church completely, no matter what storms come, you will be able to withstand that and indeed continue to remain strong. So know, all of our students, know that our parish is praying for you. We love the opportunity to be with you. We love the opportunity to serve you. We love the opportunity to be here for you, to be home for you during these 4 years or maybe more. We love the opportunity to help. We are inspired by you. It's not a one-way street where we just think of you as some mission effort, right? We are very much inspired by all of you. This is just a beautiful thing to see these two, your community and the community here at St. Paul's, sort of, enrich one another mutually. And so we are so glad that you're here. We are here for whatever you need. I'm here for whatever you need to just help you throughout your 4 years. Just continue to just work at making sure that foundation of your life is Jesus Christ and His church.